Hi guys and welcome. Today I'm going to be doing a near full face of Victoria Beckham Beauty. I did pick up all 4 of the eyeshadow palettes, the new ones that she's just released. Today's video I'm going to be doing 2 different eye looks with 2 different eyeshadow palettes of hers, and I'll do a separate video using the other 2. I also picked up one of her new eyeliners as well. So I've done all my skincare for the morning and I put on some sunscreen probably about 15 minutes ago now. So for primer today, I'm going to use the Guerlain one. This is a beautiful primer. And today, it's not quite as hot as it has been for at least the last 2 or 3 weeks. And for the first time in that 3-week period, I haven't had as yet to put the air conditioning on. I may have to put the little fan on that I have in this room, but I don't think I'll need to put on the air conditioning today. And although the weather's been beautiful and hot, it gets to the stage where you tend to get a little bit over it, so I'm quite pleased that the temperature's cooled down a little bit. For the foundation today, I'm going to use the Giorgio Armani. This is the Luminous Silk one, and I'm just going to give it a shake. I haven't used it for a little while. I only tried this foundation for the first time, not last year, it was the year before. And when I was in America, I picked this up at a Sephora there. Not that you can't get it here, but it was just something I decided to pick up because a couple of my friends highly recommended it, and it is a really beautiful foundation. I love the coverage that it gives. It gives a lovely medium coverage, and the finish suits my oily skin really well. I think all skin types could use this foundation though. For the concealer, I'm going to use the Victoria Beckham. This is the concealer pen, just giving it a couple of clicks to get this concealer out. I absolutely love this now that I have it in the right shade. The first one I purchased was a little bit too dark. The shade is just perfect. And I love it so much that I would rate it up there with my other favorite concealer, and that is the Chanel, the Sublimage one. I think this gives a really beautiful finish, and although the coverage is light towards medium, I really like that. I think it gives a very natural look, and this has beautiful skincare ingredients in it and keeps your under eyes really moisturized. Even though I have oily skin, for under my eyes, I do like a concealer that doesn't dry my under eyes out. Otherwise, it just emphasizes my wrinkles. But this is just beautiful. So I just let that concealer sit for a while once I've blended it out. And then, as usual, the next step is my eyeshadow primer. And for my eyebrows today, I'm going to use the Victoria Beckham. This is the FeatherFix. And I can't remember which shade this is in, but everything that I'm putting on today, it will be listed and linked below, and I can't quite see what the shade is, but I'm really happy with the shade that I chose. And a little while ago, late last year I think it was, when I put in an order with Victoria Beckham, I also got a backup of this. So I've just powdered under my eyes. I haven't put on too much because once I've done the first eye look, I've got to wash all that off, ready for the second eye look. And for the powder today, I'm using the Prairie. This is the Skin Caviar loose powder. I absolutely love this powder. And I'm not going to put too much of it on today since it's not going to be quite as hot as it has been the last few days. And for bronzer, I'm going to use Victoria Beckham, the bronzing brick. This one is in the shade 03. I also have the one in 02 as well. And I've had these bronzers probably for about, coming up 3 years, I think now. At least 2 years. And they perform just as good as the day that I purchased them. I think sometimes with clean beauty that different products can expire quite quickly, but I don't find that with the Victoria Beckham line. I think quite a few of her products have a shelf life from date of opening of 24 months anyway. I'll just have a look at the back of this bronzing brick and see what that one is. So this one has a shelf life from date of opening of 12 months, and I've had it well past that, like I said, at least 2 years, and it still smells just fine and performs really beautifully as well. So now let's get into the eye looks. As I said at the beginning of the video, I did pick up all 4 different of the eye wardrobe palettes. Today I'm just going to be using 2 of them, and the 2 that I'm going to be using is Victoria and also the one in Navy Noir. Now, not yesterday but the day before, I did try out the one in Navy Noir. I haven't tried any of the others yet, and I thought it looked really beautiful. So they come in refills just like that, and I originally thought I may be able to use the palettes from her original eyeshadows, but then I quickly discovered that they don't fit. So here is one of her original eyeshadows, and this is the newer one. And while they are exactly the same size, when you put them one over top of the other, the difference is the newer one is down the bottom here, and it is a lot thicker than the original one. And the other thing with these is people often comment how luxurious they feel, and they do feel luxurious. And the reason for that is because there is no plastic in this. They have glass and different bits of brass as well, and also some other types of materials, but no plastic, and that's why they do feel really beautiful. So let's have a look and see where these eyeshadows were made. These were made in Italy, and these have a shelf life of 24 months from date of opening. So I'm just going to put the eyeshadow palette Navy Noir inside the palette, and what I love about these is that it is easy peasy. They are magnetic, so they slot in really easily. And then just inside here, when you go to take it out, there's a little gap there, so they're easy to lift out as well. So here is Navy Noir. I think the color story looks gorgeous, and as I said the other day, I did try this, and it is very wearable, and it's just absolutely beautiful. So I'm just going to swatch this on the back of my hand. The other thing with this formula is that it is super smooth and really buttery as well. Now, the other day when I tried this, I would have worn it for, it would have been at least 10 hours, and I found that they wore really beautifully throughout the day, and they didn't crease either. But of course, I wore eyeshadow primer the other day when I tried it as well. So from swatching, you can see how super pigmented these are. So when you put them on, you just have to go very carefully. That's how I normally put on an eyeshadow that's more pigmented, and then I just slowly build it up. So here it is swatched. And I think she's got on the website the different eyeliners that match the different shadows as a guide, but I also picked up the eyeliner. This is the newest one, and this is the one in Jeans. I don't think I'll wear this today with this eyeshadow, but I just want to swatch it on the back of my hand as well, just so you can take a look at the shade. So there is the shade Jeans. I think this would be really beautiful just used on its own as an eyeshadow as well. Now, just while I'm wiping these swatches off the back of my hand, I don't have the older one in that navy color story, so I can't do a comparison with that one. So let's get started. I'm going to start off with this shade here. This is really beautiful, and you could wear the shade just by itself. It's really beautiful. I'm going to use the mirror that comes with this compact. So I'm going to take this shade all over my lid, through the crease and up onto the brow bone as well. Now, because as I was saying earlier, these are, I think they're super pigmented, I just go in fairly easy and then slowly build it up. I'm just going to take the Sonia G brush, the pencil one, and I'm going to run some of that same shade under my lower lash line. And then next I'm going to go into the shade here. This is the shade that probably scared me the most out of this palette, but I used it the other day and it was beautiful. Now this is very pigmented, so I just pick up a small amount and I'm just going to put this in the outer corner. So you can see a little bit goes a long way, and I'm just going to take that up onto the brow bone as well. Then I'm going to take the Rapha number 13 and I'm going to go into the deeper shade and also put a little bit of this in the outer corner as well. I'm just trying to keep it just to the very edge, run a tiny bit along my lash line just through there, but really just packing the shade in just in the very outer corner. I'm just going to pick up a tiny bit more pack a little bit more in, and then I will blend it out and soften it out after I've done this. And then again, I'm just going to take the Sonia G, the pencil one, stay with that deeper shade, and I'm going to run a little bit of this on my lower lash line as well. And then I've just got a clean fluffy brush, and I'm just going to very gently just blend over what I've done and up through here, just to soften out the edges a little bit. And then finally use this shade here. This is my Rapha number 02 brush, and I'm going to put that over the rest of my lid. And then instead of eyeliner on the upper lash line, I'm going to use my small dense brush. It's also soft as well, and I'm going to go into this deeper shade again and use this for eyeliner. And I think I'll use one of her eyeliners for my lower lash line. So here is the finished eye look, and I think this is really gorgeous. I do love blue eyeshadows though, and I love the different depths of the blue that she has in here, and the silvery grey I think is really pretty as well. And I also think that the eyeliner that I use, the sea grey one on the bottom, goes beautiful with this eye look as well. Now I am going to do the rest of my makeup and keep it the same for the next eyeshadow palette that I do. So let's get into the blush, but before I put on blush, I'm going to actually use the Victoria Beckham, the highlight stick. And you can just use this as a highlight if you want, but the other day I used this underneath the blush and I thought it looked really beautiful. So I'm just going to take the Sonia G, this is a sheer buffer, and just sweep it over the highlight stick and put this all over the cheek first. It just gives a little bit of difference to the blush. Next, I'm going to go into the Victoria Beckham blush, and this is the one called Knickers. And again, just sweep the brush over the top and just put that over the highlight. And for lipstick, I'm going to use the Victoria Beckham one. This is in the shade, I think this one is Girl, and over the top I'm going to put a little bit of the balm on. So here is the finished look. This is what I used the other day when I tried out this eyeshadow, and I love the lipstick and the blush together with this blue eyeshadow. I really love this look. Blue shadow is not for everyone. I happen to really love it, and I use all of the shades from this palette, but you could easily just use one or two of the shades and tone it down if you wanted to, but I think it's gorgeous. These are creamy and they just blend out beautifully. So now I'm going to wash this off and we'll be back and we'll try on the other palette. So that took quite a bit of work to get that eyeshadow off. That's how pigmented they are, and that's why I'm only doing the two different looks in this video, because my eyes, they can get a little bit sore if I have to keep rubbing eyeshadow off. So now let's take a look at the second palette. This is the one Victoria, and this, I haven't tried this one yet, but this is probably going to be my favorite. I think the color story of this is just really beautiful. The other thing with these cases, I find them quite easy to open and also quite easy to shut as well, and it doesn't seem like they're going to pop open like some of the older cases did. I didn't have any issues with the eyeshadow, but with the bronzers, I think the early ones, or early on, they tended to pop open, but I think these ones, these are going to stay shut. I haven't had them pop open yet. So here is the color story Victoria. It's really beautiful. Now I do have three of the smoky eye bricks of Victoria Beckham's. I have Tuxedo, Signature and Silk, but none of them are like this color story. The one in Silk is nearly all shimmers. It's quite a warm palette. It's very beautiful, but it's not like this one Victoria. I will swatch in my next video the one Tuxedo next to the other one in Night Flash and see if there's any similarities. But what I can tell you about the formula with these new ones compared to the older ones, I thought the formula was really beautiful, and it is in the older ones, but these are definitely smoother and more buttery. So here is the color story of Victoria, and when I swatch them, they are just super smooth. I think this is a really pretty colour story. On her website with this colour story, she does recommend the eyeliner in cinnamon, but I actually aren't going to use that one today. I think I'm going to use the one Smoky Quartz, but I will swatch this underneath so you can take a look. So up the top is cinnamon and the one just below is Smoky Quartz. So let's put this one on. I've actually got my spare Rapid number 14 brush because with blue eyeshadow it is notorious for trying to get that out. It does come out if I give it a really good wipe with Cinema Secrets, but I thought I'd just grab my spare clean one. So to start with, I'm going to go into this shade here. As I was saying earlier, the only one I tried is the Navy Noir one, the one that I put on just before. I haven't tried this colour story yet, so I'll just go in there again, and I'm just taking that all over the lid, through the crease and up onto the brow bone as well. Now I think that would be just beautiful by itself. Put some of that on the lower lash line and then use the eyeliner in Smoky Quartz or the one in cinnamon, and I think that would be beautiful just by itself. So I'm going to stay with that shade, use the Rapid number 3 and put some of that on my lower lash line. I just really love that shade by itself, but for the next shade I'm going to go into this one here. I'm going to go fairly carefully. I'm just going to wipe down my brush first, and I'm just going to deepen up the look a little bit. I'm going to put a little bit of this through the crease as well. And next I'm going to go into this shade here, and I think I'm going to put this one all over the lid. I'm just staying with this brush because it's nice and fluffy and I don't want to lay a whole lot of pigment down. I'm going to go back to the Rapid number 3. I'm going to stay with that shade, and I'm also going to put this on my lower lash line as well. And then finally I'm going to go into the deeper shade, and I'm going to put this in the outer corner. Now I'm just going to go back into this shade here and just put a little bit through here just to try and just lighten it up a fraction. And here is the finished eye look. I think this is really beautiful as well. This is really smoky and moody. I think it's really gorgeous. If you wanted to lighten it up a little bit, you could reach, if you do have one of your older palettes, and that is in the one Silk, you could use the shade here, this lightest one, and put a little bit through here. And I was going to do that, but I actually quite like it like this. I quite like this deep, moody look. And of course, if you've got other eyeshadows where you've got a lighter shimmer shade, satin shade in there, you could pop that through here if you wanted to lighten it up and put a little bit in the corner. But I really like this. I think it's gorgeous, and the formula is just beautiful. So overall, I think these eyeshadows are gorgeous. Let's take a look at Navy Noir. Some of you might not be too sure about this one. You might think it is a little bit scary, but I actually think when all this is put on, it's actually lighter than this one here. You don't have to use all of the 4 shades, and you can go really carefully. Even this one, it can look a little bit bright and scary to begin with, but on the eye I think it's gorgeous. And this shade here has a little bit of grey in it as well. It's just absolutely gorgeous. And I also love the packaging as well. I love it that the refill is magnetic and they're easy to pop in and out. So I've got 2 of the cases. I do have 4 of the shadows, and probably once I've tried the other 2 out, I'll decide which are my more favorite ones that I would go to for my everyday makeup, and they're the ones that I'll pop in here. And then if I want to interchange it, it's going to be easy enough to do. And this eyeshadow palette, Victoria, is just super gorgeous. It is beautiful on the eyes. I really love this. I thought this would probably be one of my favorite out of the 4, and I think it's going to be. I do think the other one, the one that's got the green in it, is going to be really pretty as well. But this is just absolutely gorgeous. And like I said, if you wanted to lighten it up a little bit, it's super easy to do. Just reach, if you've got that Victoria Beckham, the one in silk, that lighter shade, or just from your eyeshadow collection. Really easy just to lighten it up. But I quite like it like this. As I said, it just gives this beautiful moody look. The formula of these are gorgeous. They are soft, they are buttery, really creamy. And as I was saying earlier in the video with the one Navy Noir, I did wear that. I think it was for at least 10 hours, and I find that it didn't crease on me. But of course, I do use an eyeshadow primer, and I use an eyeshadow primer mainly because I've got oily skin, so I have oily eyelids, and there's just no eyeshadow that would last if I didn't use that. But overall, really thrilled with the shadows so far, and I'm really looking forward to trying out the other 2. Have you picked up any of these eyeshadow palettes up, and what do you think of them? Let me know in the comments below. So that's it for today's video. I would love it if you gave it a like and subscribed, and I will see you next time. Bye.